It's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. We are going to be doing a Zentangle drawing. Has anybody ever done Zentangle before? We're going to be making this. And if you want to follow along and do it with us, it is not as difficult as it looks, because Zentangle is all about repeating lines and patterns to make something complicated that was actually really easy, because all you're doing is following these simple line drawings that you repeat. All you really need for this is a piece of paper and a pencil. You can get by with a piece of paper and a pencil. But if you have pins, drawing pins, or markers, or colored pencils, or any such thing, it'll also work. My go-to stuff for a Zentangle is the micron pins, but they're fancy and kind of expensive. So if you don't have a micron pin, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But these are the ones I'll be using. And I have my Virginia Museum of Fine Arts pencil that needs an eraser badly. And I've got some pink paper. Okay, we're gonna get started on this drawing. If you would like to follow along, you're welcome to do whatever shape you want. I just picked a heart because it's Valentine's Day. But if you would like to do a triangle or a circle or a square or a rectangle or whatever the hell you want to do, you're welcome to draw whatever you want. But you just want to make a shape, a fairly decent size shape. Traditionally in Zentangle, you do it in a square. And this does not have to be a perfect shape, okay? The thing about Zentangle, which is absolutely wonderful and amazing, and I love it, is that there's really no wrong. There's no wrong to the Zentangle. If you mess up something, it doesn't matter. So this is a no pressure drawing. It's no pressure zone, as Yo Erica would say. So I'm just gonna draw a fairly decent sized heart here. And it can be wonky and sideways and not perfect. So that's step one. If you're following along, draw yourself a nice big shape. Heart, if you're inclined. If you're pissed off at Valentine's Day, draw a triangle or a square or whatever. So the next step to the Zentangle drawing is that you're going to split your shape into 4 sections. And it doesn't really matter what sizes they are or what shapes they are, but we're going to do 4 different patterns. So you're going to need 4 different sections. You can see in the example over there, where is it? Over here, where I did them last time. I think I'm going to try to do it different this time, just to change it up a little bit. So there's my 4 sections. It looks like a cut of beef. This is how you cut the cow. Here's the rump roast. No. Here's the ribs. Make your heart or shape into 4 sections. So I have this window up over here. This is a really great website if you're interested in doing Zentangles. It's called tanglepatterns.com, and they literally probably have 1,000 different patterns on here or more. There's probably thousands of different Zentangle patterns that people have put up on here. They also offer a lot of stuff. I think they have classes and they have books, and people just submit their own patterns that they come up with. The other really cool thing about, there's a filet mignon here. So that's probably this one here. The other really cool thing about Zentangles is that they're supposed to be meditative. So this is perfect for us spiritual woo-woo weirdos. Zentangles are called Zentangles because they're supposed to be meditative. When you get into the pattern making, it's supposed to help you relax and help you clear your mind. And they really can be. I won't be because I'll be talking through it. And you probably won't be able to unless you start ignoring me, which is fine. But if you're doing them on your own, in a quiet place or with some quiet music, they can be very soothing and meditative. Okay, so we're going to do 4 different patterns that I found from the Zentangle Patterns website. They all have weird names. This one's called Spaghetti, and that's kind of what it's going to look like there. I realize that's very small, and if you're watching this on your phone, it's probably really tiny, which is why we're going to do it on the screen. So you're going to choose one of your sections to put this first pattern in, and it doesn't really matter which one you do it. I think I put it on the top in the last one, so I'm going to put it on the bottom in this one. Most of the patterns, most of them have really great little instructional pictures. Some of them, not so much. So follow along here. So we're going to start the spaghetti with a loop. And you want to connect it to the edge of your section somewhere. So remember, we're just doing one section here. So somewhere in your section, you're just going to make a little loop-de-loop. And then you want to fill in that loop. So I'm going to get a slightly bigger pin so it doesn't take me ages to fill it in. So you're making a loop connected to the edge of your section, wherever you decided to put it. And you're just going to fill it in. Like so. Looks like a little doorway to a tunnel. Next, we're going to make what the Zentangleists call an aura. See? Really woo-woo, right? We're making an aura. So you're going to make a little loop around it. That's an aura. And we're going to repeat the aura 3 times. So we got 1 aura, 2 auras, 3 auras. So it does kind of look like a little tunnel. Now we're going to repeat by attaching to the one that we just made somewhere. So somewhere on the last aura, maybe in a different direction, you want to make another loop. And then you're going to fill that one in. Because the first one you fill in and the rest of them you don't. So I've done my loop, I filled it in, and I've made my 3 auras. So now I've made 2 spaghettis. Okay, so as you continue the spaghettis, what's going to happen is you're going to hit the edge. And when you do that, you don't want the lines of your pattern to go out of the section. So you're just going to stop the line when you get to the edge. So let's do one so you can see what that looks like. So I'm just going to do another one, another loop attached to one of my spaghettis here. And then I'm going to fill that one in. And now you'll be able to see when I do the auras for this one, it's going to run into the side. Okay, so I'm putting my auras in, my 3 auras. 1. Now when I go to do the second one, it's going to run into the edge. So I'm just going to stop when I get to the edge. 2. I'm going to pretend that I continued it by just following above so I don't accidentally touch the paper. And then I'm going to bring it back down. Bring it around town. So I've only done 2, so I need to do another one. So I'm stopping at the edge of the section. I'm pretending like I'm going around. And then I'm going to bring it back in over there. Oh, it's starting to look like an alien face. Now we have a crazy alien face. It's like screaming at us. All right, let's put another one in. We're gonna make another loop. Fill that one in. This one kind of reminds me of cactuses. Yeah, shoot it down. We don't care if there's no aliens in there. We're gonna shoot it down. Who cares about life? This white blobby thing is a safety hazard. All right, so I'm doing my 3 auras. Now here's another issue. Some of them might run into each other. And if that happens, don't go through one you already drew. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to stop. If you get to one you've already drawn, pick it back up where it looked like it's going to come out. Same thing. Don't let it go in the other section. And then I might not be able to see the third one all the way over here. I might get a tiny little snippet there, but then it's not going to show up really. Looks like I might get a tiny little bit in this corner. And then I'd come and bring it back around, and then it'd be over here. So the little cornery parts might get a little confusing, but you're just going to like kind of see where the line would go. And if it shows back up in your section, and it's not inside of one you've already drawn, you're just going to put a little bit. It's a little dab will do ya. We're going to keep going on this one until it's all full. When you're doing Zentangles, it's good to turn your paper, be turning your paper while you're working on it. You don't have to keep it upright the whole time. In a lot of ways, I think this applies to most art making, if applicable. Obviously, if you're working on an oil painting, you might not be able to flip it upside down, but even making like digital photographs, my high school photography teacher said we should look at it from all directions. Look at it sideways, look at it upside down. Is it still interesting? Or is it more interesting? Is it more interesting upside down? So there's our spaghetti. I have finished the first Zentangle pattern. It looks nice on this pink paper. I like it. I like it. Okay, the next one's called Zudo. Let's pull it up on our Zentangle Patterns website. This one gets a little bit complicated. It ends up kind of looking like a ribbon of hearts, and it's it looks complicated when it's finished. It can get a little tricky. I think that I messed up a couple spots, perhaps. Actually, you know what? I don't think I messed up this one. I messed up one on this one. But this is the next one we're gonna do. So if you have a section on your heart that looks like it might be good for a ribbony thing, choose that. If you don't, that's okay too. Just choose another section that you're going to put these in. I think I'm going to get a smaller pin because this gets kind of crazy. There's a lot of parts on this one. I think I'm going to put my Zudo pattern up here in the top of the heart hump. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a line of hearts. That are touching each other. So the sides of them need to be touching each other. So I'm just going to pick a section and I'm going to draw a heart. And I don't want it to be too gigantic, but it can be a decent size. And I'm going to draw a heart next to it, but they have to butt up against each other. So the tops should be touching each other. The humps. You want your humps to touch. Happy Valentine's Day. Mine are getting smaller as they go along. That's okay. I kind of like it like that now. So I'm just making a line of hearts with their humps touching each other. Now I need to go back and I need to add part of one over here. But remember, I don't want to draw outside of the line. I got a little crooked, that's okay. Then I think I need a little bit of one over here too, just a tiny bit. Okay, once you get your line of hearts drawn with their humps touching, that hopefully they asked for consent first, you're gonna flip it over. See, remember I said in Zentangle, you gotta draw things, you gotta flip the paper sometime. So now we're going to draw hearts that connect inside of the other hearts on the other side, if you see this step here. So it's like the hearts are fitting inside of each other. Now we're getting really complicated. First the humps are touching. I'll say no more. Okay, so pretend that the angled parts of the hearts, that's going to be the angled part of your other heart. So watch if you're confused. So I'm just going to start here because this is where I started before, but I am going to have to go back and do that one. I'm just going to draw a little hump that connects to the bottom point of this heart and another little hump that connects to the bottom point of this one. So it looks like the hearts are fitting inside of each other. They're interconnected. Consent is sexy. Absolutely. Okay. Now you want to make sure that the same thing is happening to this. So you want the humps to be touching each other, but you also want it to just turn into the heart at the bottom. Is this making sense? It's kind of hard to explain. I'm not having to draw the whole entire heart all over again. All I'm having to draw is the top humps. And I got to make sure they touch the hump to the side. And I got to make sure that it comes down to the heart at the bottom. Hump, hump. So we're making another line of hearts in reverse. So now I got to go back and do this one. This one's going to end up being pretty big because I got it all swoopy here. And then I got to do something over here. Just kind of close that one up a little bit. So now we have two lines of hearts that are interconnected. They fit inside of each other in a row. But wait, there's more. So if you can see this screen over here at all, we're in this little second square. So inside of each heart, we're going to draw a little swoopy line from the inside of the top hump, and it's going to come down across to the other side. So I'm going to draw one so you can see what it looks like. So I'm at the top inside left, and I'm making a swoop down to the right bottom. So from the left top to the right bottom, inside of each heart. Your hearts look like butts. Hearts do look like butts. So your hearts are probably just fine, Gilded Imp. Got little butts. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing my swoopies from the top left to the bottom right. Swoopy, swoopy. And you can make them real swoopy if you want, where they kind of curve a little bit. Curvy, curvy. Top left to bottom right, inside of each heart. Top left to bottom right, inside of each heart. Now this one over here, I can't see the whole thing, so I'm going to have to pretend like I can see the whole heart. And then I'm going to make my little swoopy swoopy just a little tiny bit. So that's what it should look like when you get one side finished. Top to bottom swoops, left to right. We need to do the same thing on the other row of hearts. So flip it upside down. And we're going to do the same thing here. We got to go from top left to bottom right, swoop, swoop, swoopy, swoopy. Top left, bottom right, top left, bottom right, top left, bottom right, swoopy, swoopy. So when you're done, it should look like that. Swoops. Swoops and more swoops. The next step was to draw a line on the outside of the heart from the far left over to the middle of the right. So we're going to be going from here across the top, little humpy hump, to the middle of the right. So watch first. Far left, outside of the heart, to the middle right. Far left, outside the heart, to the middle right. And we're going to do that for all the ones across the top, and then we'll flip it and do the ones on the bottom. Right, here we go. Outside of the heart, far left to middle right. Far left, middle right. Far left, middle right, and continue, and continue. All right, so I got my top done. So now I'm gonna have to flippity floop, so I can do the other side. Far left to middle right, far left, middle right, far left, middle right, far left, middle right, continue, continue. Now I have finished the top and the bottom. So hopefully yours looks like something similar here. It's starting to look like a ribbon. Little ribbon hearts. So if you can see the tiny little screen over here, we're going to be on step number 4 on the tanglepatterns.com Zudo pattern, if you need to see it up close. So the next step is we're going back inside of the heart, and we're going to be drawing a tiny little bit of a corner. So from the place where this outside hump connects to the heart, inside of the heart, you're going to bring a little line down. It's going to make like a little corner, and you're going to bring it over and connect it to the point of the hump inside. So it looks like a tiny little corner. I'll do another one up close. So where the line connects to the heart, the ones we just drew, inside the heart, you're going to bring a line down. Okay. And then you're going to bring it over and connect it to the point. So it's making a little corner. So inside the heart, where the last hump connects to the point. Inside the heart, from the outside hump to the point. Making little corners that connect to the points. I got one more I got to do on the top. So the hump down to the point. They might look like a corner of a rectangle, or they might look like a triangle. It's just a little snippety snip. So I got my top done. So I'm going to flip it around and do the bottom. From the hump to the point. Hump to the point. Hump to the point. And onward and forward and continue. And that makes a little ribbony thing. We have one more step to finish the ribbons, the heart ribbons. And then we can jazz it up with some shading or some decoration. Or if you got frustrated with it, you can say, no, I'm not. I'm done with Zudo, and I refuse to do any more. Okay, the very last step. We're on step number 5. We got to add a little bit. We're going back on the outside. We have to add a little bit from where this hump left off to the adjacent hump. Adjacent means beside. If you were not aware of what the word meant, the definition is beside. So we're going to connect this hump to the adjacent hump. Remember, we had to put the humps next to each other and they had to be touching. We're going to connect them. So where this one ends, we're going to bring another little bit up and over to the one beside it. Kind of like we're making another little heart on the outside. Okay, I'm going to do the next one. So where this hump ended, bringing it up and over. Up and over. So it just kind of looks like the top of a new heart, but it's like behind the other ones. You see? You see what I'm saying? And then you flippity do it, and you do the other side. So where the other hump left off, you bring it up and over to the heart beside it. Little bit, little bit, little bit. And this one's a little bigger because mine got bigger as they went over. Look at that. Look how crazy that looks. And all it was drawing some repeating lines. And it looks absolutely berserk. So, there's a lot of things you can do with this one. If you can see the example on the website, they have added little bits of what looks like stitching on it. So you could add some craziness if you wanted to. On my example that I did for tonight, I did some shading on the ones in the inside so that it looked like it was a little three-dimensional. And then I just added some color on the outside. So you could go back and do something fancy like that if you wanted to. I also added some color to the first one too, because once I started adding color, I was like, I need to add color everywhere. There needs to be color on all of them. So if you're interested in adding some shading on here so that it looks more three-dimensional, You absolutely can do that. Actually, let me show you how to do one with the pencil so you can know how to blend. So ideally, you would have a blending stick or a blending stump for this, which I don't think I have one. I don't think I have one handy. I think I have one, but it's not out. But if you don't have one of those, or you don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, you can use a tissue and you would just roll it up and make a nice little point. So roll it nice and tight, and then you can make a point with your tissue. And this will act just like a blending stick or a blending stump. So if I wanted to add some shading onto this ribbon, like I did in my final example here, I'm not going to do a whole lot with the pencil. I'm just going to add a little bit of the pencil marks where I want it to go. And then you just blend it out with the tissue, trying to keep it inside the lines. So I'm just using the tissue to spread the graphite from the pencil out into the space where I want it to be shaded a little bit. And then that's going to give me a little bit of a shadow in the inside of these ribbons so that you can tell that they're supposed to look like ribbons and not some abstract crazy like hieroglyphics or something. But I'm not going to do them all right now. But you're welcome to do that if you like. For now, we're going to move on to the next pattern. So the next pattern is called Map. So this one's kind of cool. So the person who came up with this design based it on a plant. It looks like a succulent, perhaps. The Crassola corymbosa. I don't know. It reminded her of apple slices. So the other cool thing about Zentangles is you can change the patterns up however you want, and you can make them into the craziest crazy things. There's like no limit to the wonderfulness of a Zentangle. Okay, so we're going to do this map one next. So you're going to choose another section of your shape or your heart if you decided to do a heart. I think I'm going to put this one. I think I'm going to put it in this one here. Okay, so the first step is you're just going to make two small hearts that butt up against each other. This is very sensual Zentangles. Humps touching, and now we're putting butts together. Oh, I don't want to use a pencil though. Hold on. I started drawing with a pencil. I don't want to draw with a pencil. Okay, so I'm going to make a small heart. Inside of my third section here. And then I want to put the points of them together. So that the points of the hearts are touching each other. They're butting up against each other. Okay. This one's not nearly as complicated as the last one. This one's fairly easy. Now, we're going to turn the paper so that we can add some things to the in-between spaces on the opposite ends here. So this is the last time that we're going to draw something that looks exactly like a heart. The rest of them are kind of like drawing M's. So you're going to draw an M that connects on the in-between spaces of these hearts here. So you're just going to come straight up and make an M. So like the opposite sides of the hearts. Now I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So there's an M across from the one that I just made. Pretty easy. We're just making M's. It's all M's from here on out. So now we're going to go back to this direction. So every time we're going to make 2 that go the directions, and then we're going to switch and we're going to do the other direction, and then we're going to switch and do the other direction. And every time you can start to make them a little bit bigger. So now I need to make an M that connects over here to the ones that I just drew. So I want to make sure that it's touching the ones I just drew on this side. So I'm going to bring it up, make an M there. So it should be touching the ones I just drew on this side. M. And then I'm going to flippity do it. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. They got to be touching the ones I just drew. Make sure they're connected. Draw yourself an M. Now we need to switch and go back to this direction. So now I got to make sure it's connected to the ones I just drew this way. M. Flip it around. M. So every set of M's should be across from each other, and they can start getting bigger. Remember, when you get to the edge, don't let your butt hang out the edge. You got to keep your butt inside of the line. So when you get to the edge, you want to stop when you get to the edge of the shape. And then pretend like it's coming back around and see where it comes back on the other side. Same thing if it runs into another section. You don't want it to go into that section. So you're just going to look and see where it would go if it actually did go into the section. You can kind of, use your pencil or pen or whatever and see where it would go. Up and around. Don't go out of the edge. This one's just going to need a couple of little lines because I can't see the rest of it. It's outside of the heart. Same thing over here. It's going to go up, come down over there. And you just keep going with it until you run out of space. I've run out of space on 3 sides, but I think I can do some more over here. So I would need a line there, and I would need a line here, and then I would have one that comes up this way. And now I'm officially out of space. So this one was pretty easy. Way easier than this one. This one was kind of complicated. This one's fairly easy. So the last little bit of this map one is to fill in a little bit of the points. And it's going to give it a little bit of a little depth. So what you want to do is, for every place that your butt cheeks come together, we have to fill in the butt cracks, people. We're filling in the butt cracks. So you're going to just draw a little line that connects your butt cracks, and then you're going to fill it in to make a little shadow. So for each one, you're just drawing a little line across, connecting your butt cheeks together, and then you just fill in that little space. Okay, I think that I filled in all the ones I can see. I don't think I can see anymore. So I think on my example, I did a little bit of shading where the pieces meet each other. But I think I'm not going to do that on this one because I don't like how it turned out. And like I said, you know, on this one I added color to it. I just colored in the original hearts. So I thought that looked kind of cool. But I don't really like the way the shading turned out on that one, so I'm definitely not going to do the shading on this one. I would maybe try it in a different place, I think. But we're not going to do the shading tonight. This last one is called Cherub. Let's look it up on our Tangle patterns. Hopefully it'll come up this time. Here it is. So this is more hearts. This one turns out looking a lot like a ribbon too. It's like another kind of a rowy one here. This is one where I messed up. I messed up one of them. Last one, you only got one space left, so this is where it's gonna have to go. If you made the right amount of sections, you have one section left, and this is where it's gonna have to go. So, first step to the cherub is you're gonna draw small circles. Small circles in a line. So I think I'm going to go across diagonally this way. So it's kind of going in the same direction as this one, but maybe slightly off a little. So it's like pulling us into the center of the heart. So all we're doing is drawing small circles, but they need to be evenly spaced. But you don't have to get a ruler out and like be a perfectionist and try to make sure they're like exactly even. Just eyeball it. Try to make them similar size, and you're trying to make them similar amount of space in between. But it doesn't have to be perfect. So now I'm getting to the edges. I think I can fit one more here without having to have a half a one. And on this side, I can fit one more, but I think, let's see, this one's gonna go out of the space a little bit. I probably could have just drawn even less of that because there's not a lot of space in between there, but too late now. We're drawing with pen, people. There ain't no erasing. Okay, once you have your circles, we're going to do M's again. We get to do some M's. So we're just going to focus on one side for right now. So we're going to do whatever you consider the top. Pick a top, and you're going to draw an M from the middle of one circle to the other circle. But we're going to skip each one. So I got an M. I'm skipping this one. I'm going to draw another M. Skip. M, skip. Remember to do it from the middle of each circle. Skip this one. Skip it. And for this one, I'll only see a little bit because remember, once it hits the edge, you just don't draw it again. So we got fancy M's. Fancy M's with little circles. They look like, I don't know, little earrings or something. The next step is to flip it over, and we're going to put M's in the places that we skipped. So I need one here. Remember to go from the middle of the circle. Make M, M, another M. We're just doing a lot of M's. So now it looks like this. M's connecting M's. Actually, we would say now, because we can see both sides. It's an M and a W. MW, 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 MW. Next step, we get to do V's now. We're going to draw V's underneath each M to finish the bottom of the hearts. So you want to make sure they're touching the circles. And you're just drawing a V. And then flip, so you can do the other side. V's to the circles. Underneath your M's. Oh, I missed one over here. Oh, I missed the end over there. Some of mine are a little wonky, and that's just fine. We're not looking for perfection. This is just supposed to be fun. So you should have a row of hearts, one right side up, one upside down, every other one with little circles in between. All right, next step. We got more humps, people. Here comes more humps. So you need a hump from each V point to the middle of the adjacent hump on both the top and the bottom. So watch first, because the audio directions are confusing. It's a lot of humps on Valentine's Day, yes. All kinds of humps. Okay, so I'm just going to pick one to start with. I'm going to start here. From the point of the V, you're going to make a hump over to the middle of the adjacent heart. But I need to do the same thing on the other side. So from this V point, I'm bringing up a hump, and it's connecting to the heart next to it. I'm going to do that for all the V's on the top. So from the point to the middle. From the point to the middle. It's going to end up looking like there's another heart behind it. Point to the middle, point to the middle. And then I can't see this one, but there's got to be one there. So I'm just going to come from the middle and bring it down. So that's one side finished. Now I'm going to flip it and do the other side. So from all of these V points, I need to bring a hump over to the middle of the one next to it. Yes. Okay, so now it should look like this. Like we've got little hearts behind our hearts. The next step is to put in the V's. So let's read my awful directions. A V in between each set of heart humps. You got it? So if we're pretending like there's a heart behind each one of these hearts we've already drawn, we got to have the bottoms. So for every set of these humps that we made, there needs to be a V across from it on the other side. So I'm going to start over here. So where these two touch each other, we're going to put in a little V. So it's filling in that space. let's do the next one. I think this is where I messed up last time. So you're finding the heart humps, you're going underneath of it, and you're making sure that V is connecting to the humps that are beside it. Little V's. All right, so I got that side done. So I'm gonna flip it around, I'm gonna do the other side. Okay. So now it looks like that. Like a layer of hearts. Hearts with a layer of hearts. All right. The next step. All the ones that we just drew need an aura, which remember is like, this was an aura where you're going around, but they need an aura in the inside. This one's not easy, no. This one was easy. This one was easy. This one was hard. This one was hard. But Gilded Imp, I did not pick the hardest ones. There are way harder ones out there than this. So we're going to make an aura in the inside of each one of the pieces that we just made. I think I'm going to switch to a smaller pin so that I don't get them all jumbled up. Okay. So we're not worried about the ones that clearly look like hearts. Those are fine the way they are right now. We may or may not do anything to those. What we're worried about is the ones that we just drew that look like they're underneath. We need to put an aura for each part. So, for each one of these little humps in the inside, you're going to draw a little hump aura. So you're just making a line that runs parallel to it in the inside. So instead of these hearts looking like they are solid, they're going to look like they're hollow in the inside. Like they're almost like a ring. Like it's a ring of a heart. So I've gone through and I've done all the hump auras. That's fun. That should be a band name. Hump auras. Now I gotta go do all the points. All the points need an aura too. I did the top. Now I need to do the bottom. So now it looks like this. Now, there is a ton of different stuff you can do with this one. There's all kinds of different ways that you can make these look different. On my example that I did, every other one has straight lines underneath and every other one is shaded. On the example on the website, that's what they did in this step number 8. But then in number 9, they did something different. Like for every single one of these, they did something different. Some are colored. Some have different patterns on the rings. Some have lines on the solid hearts. So there's all kinds of stuff you could do for this one to make it different. I ended up coloring mine pink and pink, and some are shaded and some have lines. So you could add that in here if you wanted. Like if you wanted to put shading underneath each one of these, or you wanted to put straight lines, vertical lines, or horizontal lines, or wavy lines, or curvy lines, or whatever the hell you wanted to put on there. I think I'm going to do a few little more steps to make mine look finished. So whoever followed along, if you ended up following along and finishing, or you end up doing this at another day, I know Gilded Imp was following along. If you guys want to share it in the Discord server, what yours looked like when you finished, or if you decide to do it later, or you decide to do any Zentangle later, that would be awesome if you shared it with us. Over in the Discord, there's an art gallery section. You can put it up there. I like the way mine turned out. And see how different they can be? I did the exact same Zentangle, totally different. Because you can make them however you want. I like it. It was fun.